Keir Starmer is in serious trouble, and this time it's coming from his own side. The House of Lords just launched a legal attack that could tear apart how Britain handles illegal immigration. Right now, when judges decide if criminals and failed asylum seekers can stay in Britain, nobody gets to see what happens. These decisions are secret. You can't read them. The media can't check them. The public has no idea what's going on behind closed doors, but that's about to change. Senior members of the House of Lords have had enough. They're pushing through a new law that would force immigration courts to publish every single decision they make. And Starmer's government is fighting back hard to keep everything hidden. Let me explain why this matters so much. Every year, tens of thousands of people appeal their deportation orders in Britain. We're talking about foreign criminals who broke the law. We're talking about asylum seekers whose claims got rejected. These people go to special immigration courts and argue why they should be allowed to stay. The judges listen to their cases and make decisions. Sometimes they say, yes, you can stay. Sometimes they say, no, you have to leave. But here's the problem. Nobody knows what these judges are actually saying. The decisions are kept secret. The public can't see them, journalists can't investigate them, members of parliament can't check if judges are doing their jobs properly. Lord Murray, who used to work at the Home Office, is leading the charge to change this. He's working with both conservative and liberal Democrat peers to force these courts to publish their decisions within 3 days, just like other courts already do. And when you hear what's been going on behind these closed doors, you'll understand why they want transparency. The Telegraph newspaper uncovered something shocking. They found a case where a first-tier immigration tribunal let an Albanian criminal stay in Britain. Part of the reason? His 10-year-old son didn't like eating foreign chicken nuggets. Yes, you read that right. Chicken nuggets. This criminal was supposed to be deported back to Albania, but the court ruled he could stay partly because his young son preferred British chicken nuggets over Albanian ones. The judges decided this was important enough to keep a foreign criminal in the country. The only reason anyone knows about this case is because a higher court overturned it and published their decision. If that hadn't happened, nobody would ever have found out about the chicken nugget defense. Lord Murray put it simply. He said there is absolutely no coherent basis for not publishing these decisions. He pointed out that there's huge public interest in knowing how these courts work. Think about it this way. Other courts in Britain publish their decisions all the time. Tax courts do it, property courts do it, employment courts do it, even courts that handle way fewer cases than immigration tribunals publish everything they decide. Immigration tribunals deal with somewhere between 38,000 and 41,000 appeals every single year. That's a massive number, and right now almost none of those decisions ever see the light of day. But this gets even more serious when you consider what's at stake. These aren't just random immigration decisions. Many of these cases involve foreign criminals who committed serious crimes in Britain. We're talking about people who hurt others, who broke into homes, who dealt drugs, who committed violence. When these criminals get caught and face deportation, they appeal to these immigration courts, and the judges often let them stay by using human rights laws. They say deporting the criminal would violate their right to family life, or their right to privacy, or some other protection under European law. The European Convention on Human Rights gets cited again and again in these appeals. Foreign criminals use it as a shield to avoid deportation. And because the court decisions are secret, the public never gets to see exactly how judges are applying these laws. This is why politicians from all major parties want to reform the system. Labour, the Conservatives, and Reform UK have all said they want to overhaul how asylum appeals work. Some want to quit the European Convention on Human Rights entirely, others want to reform it heavily. Lord Sandhurst, a Conservative peer who used to chair the General Council of the Bar, explained the deeper problem. He said the Human Rights Act has become a tool that forces British courts to interpret UK law through the ever-changing lens of European courts in Strasbourg. He warned that this kind of legal warfare puts Britain's national security and sovereignty at risk, and he stressed that as long as these immigration courts exist, their decisions must be transparent. The public needs to see what's happening. The proposed law would change everything. If it passes, every immigration tribunal decision would get published on a government website within 3 days. Journalists could analyze patterns, researchers could study which judges rule which way, the public could see if certain judges always side with migrants or always side with deportation. Lord Murray explained that this transparency would help everyone. He said you could check if allegations of bias are real or false. You could discover if particular judges are refusing every single case that comes to them, or approving every single case. The transparency doesn't favor immigrants or favor the government. It just lets everyone see what's actually happening. And right now, that's impossible. The supporters of this new law include some pretty important people. Lord Fawkes is backing it. He used to be a justice minister and now chairs the Independent Press Standards Organization. Lord Alton, a veteran Liberal Democrat peer, supports it too. But Starmer's government is standing firm against the changes. Lord Katz, speaking for the Labour government, said the judiciary should decide whether to publish individual decisions. He argued that the government doesn't need to pass a law to force transparency. He claimed people can already ask the Immigration Tribunal for specific decisions if they want to see them. But Lord Sandhurst immediately pointed out the flaw in that argument. How can you ask for a specific decision if you don't even know the case exists? You'd need to know the name of the case to request it. But since everything is secret, you have no way of knowing which cases to ask about. It's a perfect catch-22 that keeps everything hidden. The vote is coming at the end of October. Supporters believe they have enough backing in the House of Lords to pass this new law, even though Starmer's government opposes it. If it goes through, it would mark a huge defeat for the Prime Minister. This battle reveals something important about British politics right now. Trust in institutions is breaking down. People feel like decisions are being made behind closed doors that affect their safety and their country's future. When a foreign criminal stays in Britain because of chicken nuggets and nobody would have ever known if a higher court hadn't intervened, that destroys public confidence. The immigration system has become one of the most controversial issues in British politics. Voters consistently rank it as one of their top concerns. They want to know their government has control over who enters the country and who gets to stay. Secret court decisions make that impossible to verify. Starmer campaigned on bringing integrity back to government. He promised to clean up politics and be different from previous administrations. But now his government is fighting to keep immigration courts secret and hidden from public view. The House of Lords pushing back shows this isn't just a party political issue. Peers from different parties are uniting around the principle that justice must be open, that the public has a right to know how judges are interpreting laws that affect public safety and national sovereignty. Labour has suggested an alternative. They want to replace the current tribunal system with professional adjudicators who would limit appeals and speed up decisions. But critics say that doesn't solve the transparency problem. Even if you make the system faster, if it's still secret, the fundamental issue remains. This revolt in the House of Lords represents a direct challenge to Starmer's authority just months into his premiership. If he loses this vote, it sets a precedent that the Lords can block his agenda on sensitive issues. If he wins, he has to explain why immigration court decisions should stay hidden when every other court publishes theirs. Either way, Britain's immigration system remains in chaos. The public wants answers, the House of Lords wants transparency, and Keir Starmer is caught in the middle of a fight that could define his entire time as Prime Minister.